Hi, Zizaran here, and I wanted to do another little bit of a talk teaching moment with build scaling because I just recently made some changes to Penance Brand, and I wanted to go over them, how I thought about it, and just, yeah, some changes on how I upped the damage significantly on my Penance Brand. Because we don't have a POB of my old build. I thought we'd link to like my POB of my character as it was, but we linked to like my character, so they always have an up-to-date version, which is technically really good, but that means I don't have my old POB, which is such. So I think I've mostly recreated my old character before the swap, and I didn't actually do that many changes at all. I changed a few things, and we're going to go over them now. So we have stages set to 10, and we have 8 million damage. We have count at 2, and we can't have stages 20 with 2 because with Runebinder it kind of bugs, and each stage can either be like 3 and 17 or 13 and 7. It can't be 20, which would double our damage. So if you set stages to 20, it does double our damage. So that's bugged, but technically because of that, it's also very playable on Pathfinder, because Pathfinder obviously can't have Runebinder, so if that was more mandatory, it'd be a bad thing for other classes. But either way, still good to have, but it's not an end of the world if you don't have it. So that's the important part. And I have like 8 million right now. This was my old build, and I was like, oh, I really want more damage for Sanctum. So what are we going to change? Well, we can be a little bit more glass cannon for Sanctum, and we can add in some more charms. So one of the things I got that was different, because before I think I had a reservation charm and something else, and I got this charm from my friend Steel Mage, and they do go higher. You can get better ones, but it's obviously hard for us on SSF. So now I can add in Frenzy, right? So we're starting out with like a little under 8 million damage, and boom, now I'm up to 9 million. This is up all the time while mapping, and most of the time, especially like a little bit into the start of the room. Now, I actually kill bosses too fast now, so for bosses in Sanctum, I don't have them up because they die too fast, which means that is not a problem if they die too fast. Then what else do we want to change? Well, somebody in chat was like, what about an adrenaline charm? And I was like, well, I don't have a way to do low life. Or do I? I'm actually not too far off. So let's change the skill tree a little bit. I got rid of these. I got rid of these. So I am losing life. I am losing survival to do this. And I lost a max res because I used to have +1 max res when you have both life reserved and mana, which we do. We have vitality on my life. But instead I have to do 20 life reservation. I am going to be losing my brand equity because we have to pick these up. And that is mostly because we need the mastery. You can cast 2 additional brands. And then, instead of having brand equity anointed, I anoint Champion of the Cause for a little bit more aura effect, which is huge for us. But also the reservation, which we really needed. And you could also replace this with a charm, mind you. You don't necessarily need that 6% aura effect. But you can see like this node here, it's pretty substantial both for defense and offense. So aura effect is big for this build because we're running so many auras. And next, I was like, what if I actually managed to go low life? So first I was thinking Herald of Purity, but then Manny made a good point, like Herald of Purity kind of sucks because, especially on hardcore, those minions can like, things can chain off them and they can get you killed by things targeting them. So then I do Herald of Ash. Now we're at 10 million damage. So it's starting to scale. But now, there's more than that. We're now able to go low life. Because we're always low life now. So now we're at 13 million damage. Now, and I'll show this in-game, the beautiful thing about us already running Righteous Fire on this build is that as soon as we potion, do you see now? Now I'm low life. So now, as soon as I reach low life, adrenaline procs. That means every time I potion, I'm basically insta-adrenaline. So I'll explain this interaction a little bit because it might be new to some of you. So I'm using Petrified Blood here, and it was pretty hard to fit. I did need a 10% restoration efficiency of skills chest. So this is crafted with a deafening loathing, and this chest is kind of insane for SSF. Now, this could be replaced by charms, but you do need to make sure that everything fits before transitioning. Now, you can actually make a better chest, helmet than mine. You could, instead of life regen, have reservation. But life regen is really, really nice for this build as well. And I actually want more. All of that reservation, and then Champion of the Cause, and then I was able to fit everything. I think I could have 1% less reservation. Another thing that you could do instead of what I'm doing as well, you could get up to 5% reservation on charms. You could also experiment with the new, I can't remember quite what it's called, but the new Ultimatum Jewel, which increases the effect of blue charms. That means you can actually get up to 12% reservation on a magic jewel with the corruption. So there's some cool things you can do for reservation. And yeah, like I said, charms. So what Petrified Blood does is that it applies a buff and it protects the lower half of your life, right? So everything below here is protected. And technically, that's sort of like everything here being better. It's stronger. Last patch, it was we could even get higher quality that made it even better, and you could basically get that it doubled the half of your life. So I'll try to explain. So right now, if I take a hit for 1,000 damage, 40% life of that, or 40% of that hit, just never actually happens. And it's instead, I'm taking more of that damage, but over 4 seconds. And that's really, really nice, because obviously then both my energy shield and my life are sort of mitigating that, and I'm regening, because I do have mind over matter, etc. So this is really nice. I do want to have higher life regen, because right now I think I only have like net 200, 300, which doesn't counter petrified blood that good. But whenever I'm able to get up to like say 700 or 800 life regen, then taking the damage over time, like yeah, I took 1,000 damage and I'm taking a little bit more damage over time, but over time is a lot better than getting one shot. It also does allow me to use like my life loss to counteract it. It allows me like time to log out, etc. So that means that even though we only have 2,500 life, we do effectively have 2,534 multiplied by 1.4 for the case of one shots. So I'm actually 2,530 life multiplied by 1.4, putting us to that. And then on top of that, I have another 734 energy shield, which most of the time will protect me. So I do have 4,200 with pretty okay mitigation. Now, I don't have any crazy tank on this, and I do have suppression, thankfully. But another thing I would like to put in the future would be melding. That would make me very, very tanky. And as you can see, I've gone for physical damage reduction and physical damage taken as elemental, etc. So I do initially want that at the prefix on the helmet here instead of thorns. But that's what we're working with so far. And yeah. And another thing, I did have to like play around with the links. So make sure you look at Zizaran 23 and copy the exact setup for the low life version. Like I did have to fit a level 3 Enlighten, etc. as well. I think level 3 Enlighten and Champion of the Cause was the biggest thing. I know I dropped Inspiration. I don't think I dropped anything else than Inspiration. That's pretty much the only thing. Right now, if you see if we enable everything. So let's see. Do you have Adrenaline? We are now up to 16.5 million damage. Oh, actually, we do have a Nerve as well. But I should have had that on the previous config. But I'm now somewhere like 18 to 20 million damage with everything. And obviously this isn't all up all the time because I am using let's see, we can pop everything. When I pop everything and the enemy is cursed, for which I can keep up for, I think I can keep it up for 12 seconds if I'm right. 3. Yeah, so I can keep that up for basically 12 seconds, which is more than enough to kill anything with this damage. So I've been doing like Maven, Eater, Sanctum, and the King. I've been doing that on hardcore, no problem. Now it is a little bit scary and there is a chance that the character's coming at one shot. But even though it looks like I'm very squishy, I do actually have an okay amount of defense. So I've been tanking like the Maven, like auto attacks and stuff, like no problem. I'm also using that which was taken, which gives me a little bit of pen, immune to reflect, and power charges and crit. But I think there's quite a lot better ones you can get. So I basically like a little bit over doubled my damage with a few changes. And this has now made this into a perfect Sanctum character. I'm a little bit scared of mapping and doing general content now. But yeah, having this to just decimate Sanctums has been really good. I've been farming myself Eternal Damnations, loads of Divine Orbs, etc. And just having a blast with it. So yeah, especially consider how like cheap the budget is on this relatively to like, you know, a lot of Trade League characters. Like I don't have insanely crazy stuff. I think the craziest thing on this character is probably my chest or my left ring is juicy. I'm happy with that. And cast speed is very important for this build. That's one of the things that people are underestimating the most. We can see how it affects our damage. 40% reduced cast speed. So now I put in 40% reduced cast speed on this build, and it actually only lowered our damage by 2 million. But it is actually a little bit more than that, and the reason for that is our ramp up time is maybe I should flashbang you with pain. So from what I understand, the faster your cast speed is, let's say that our max is 10 stacks, right? Which is here. And we do have the, this is a beautiful graph. People that do this professionally are crying right now. So we do have a ramp up time, right? So it goes like 1 million damage, 2 million damage, 3 million damage, 4 million, 5, 6, whatever, to the max. Now, if it takes us a lot more time to get there, And if we only get to our max damage here, well, our duration of the entire brand is almost over. So if you have really high cast speed and you're getting up there fast, as far as I'm aware, this is correct, that you are, you get to your peak damage faster and it's able to stay on there for longer. That is why the duration nodes actually can be quite good to have. But I don't need them. I don't need them. But you could do that. You could take duration nodes here. So even though this won't it won't show up in your damage and cast speed won't either, it still is. It will have more effective damage. I just wanted to explain that a little bit because hopefully that might help somebody that's new that might just be very scary to only look at POB numbers, but there are other things that matter as well, so feel free to mention that. Either way, I hope you guys like videos like this where I try to explain a little bit of my changes, what I've done, and I do want to keep doing more on this build in the future. However, I am now working on a Pathfinder, which should be really, really strong. It will, however, be able to have less damage potential than the Inquisitor would. Damage on Inquisitor and crit is infinite, right? You could have 1 billion damage, whereas a dot build, which is the new build's going to be, can only go to like 36 million or something. So, but that is more than enough for everything. That's pretty much everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know and feel free to give suggestions on other things you would like to see on how to scale. I had a lot of requests for this one. So thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.